We can go live now. I will give the brief intro and then I'll hand over to Shahana ma'am to, I think, give the brief introduction and then we invite the honorable chief guest. Or how do you do, ma'am? How
You
do
can hand over to Captain Shakil. He will be moderating the.
Yeah. Hello and good evening. You're watching the Policy Times, and we are honored to welcome a galaxy of speakers and authors and people from the field of literacy. Literature is something which has played tremendous role in changing people's mindset over various themes and subjects on issues. And India, Bengal, as well as India, Bengal being the land of literature, which has again Rabindranath Tagore and a lot of famous authors played tremendous role in bringing the freedom movement from here. Similarly, many global issues that we often observe today, people from the field of literature has played tremendous role. Peace is something that the whole human civilization has been aspiring since the human being came into existence. Whether these are governments, they tried a lot to bring peace and prosperity together, whether they are religions, played tremendous role again bringing peace and prosperity. Vice versa also, a lot of big nations as well as big religions created chaos, but the objective was always to bring peace. Now, it is very important to find what is peace, to understand what is peace, what is the relevance of peace in the human society, and what are the tools to achieve peace. These are very important things for a human being to understand. Now, human beings today are divided into various multi-stakeholders. Today, business or the business entrepreneurship, this plays tremendous role in bringing peace. And without the involvement of business, we cannot bring peace. The second is technology. Technology today plays more important role than a nation state or government or even a religion. Even today, it is often said one Facebook is more powerful than many states or many countries. Also, how do we use technology, social media, to bring peace in the society? So it's not only the role of poets and literature people, but also engaging states, engaging business, engaging technology to achieve a common goal, because peace is something that we all want to achieve for a prosperous, sustainable development. United Nations has been talking about sustainable development. Now, without again involvement of involvement of peace or achieving peace, we cannot achieve sustainable development. Now, so basically, it needs multi-stakeholder engagement, involvement, as well as it needs a complete new redefinition of achieving it in the modern society, because a youth thinks of peace in a completely different way than an aged people. How do we also engage different category and different age bracket of people or different generations? Now, to moderate this session, I will request Captain Shakil Ahmed, who himself belongs to corporate, so giving a lot of perspective from there. He has also been part of Indian Defense, a proud moment for us, and ma'am is also belonging to that fraternity. Also, I want to congratulate Shahana ma'am for again collecting a wonderful book called Amity, signaling the concept of peace. I will request Captain to kindly take over from here and brief us what we want to achieve and a way forward. Captain, you need to unmute. Yeah.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be in this August gathering with Nobel laureate Udit Boshammawi. Ma'am, welcome to this virtual launch of Amity, edited by Shahana Ahmed. And for those who don't know me, I am her bitter half, and she's my better half. So kudos to everyone who has contributed to this wonderful theme and absolutely got people talking about peace. The narrative that has been set with this book is something that is, really amazing, and I see that energy and see that connection coming in from everyone, and the book is being talked about a lot. So without further ado, because ma'am is on a bit tight on time, let me just quickly introduce the chief guest to everyone. Our chief guest is Her Excellency Odit Boshamawi, Nobel Prize Laureate 2015, Peace Prize Laureate. Ms. Boshamawi is the first woman elected in 2011 to the position of President of UTICA, the Tunisian Confederation of Industry, Trade and Handicrafts. She is a member of the Tunisian National Dialogue Quartet, which was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize 2015 for its success in the mission that led to the presidential legislative elections and the ratification of the new constitution in 2014. Can we just have a round of applause for our chief guest? Thank you. So what I'll do is next, I will request ma'am to virtually launch the book and say a few words to the gathering, and for everyone to sort of know what she feels about it. And the quote that she gave was very, very amazing. And what did she think when she was giving that quote? So a little bit on that, ma'am. Over to you, Ms. Boshamawi.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I'm really so delighted to be with you today. And I'd like, really to congratulate Shahana Ahmed for this opportunity. It's a great moment for me to share with you. And I'm from Tunisia. Now I'm in Lebanon for a conference, and I'm talking to people in India. So to know that technology is very important in our life. So I'd like to really congratulate Shahana Ahmed for this opportunity, and also for this very interesting and this book about Amity, and 91 poems by 45 poets from different countries. So this is a way to see that even we are in different places, we can do something together. We can have time to listen to each other, and we can also have time also to understand each other, to respect each other, and to have the same goal. Is how we can really define and how we can say that amity, peace, and are things which are useful, but they are necessary today among all this conflict era, among all these wars, among all this misunderstanding everywhere. So I think now more than before, we do need amity, we do need peace, and we do need also this tolerance between each other. The tolerance, how we can understand and how we can respect each religion, how we can understand different culture, different environment. And I think it's very important also to mix all these people in the same book. I think it's a kind of way to be very open, to be tolerant, and to accept these differences. And all these people that they wrote in this and they gave something in this book, they are all agree that possible, that amity is a way, it's a kind of behavior that we should have. Less to give some kind of hope, kind of new era for us and for the new generation. And that's why I'm really very delighted to quote this book. And when she asked me to quote, I was really very, I was thinking what I have to put, what I'm going to add. More than that, what people they wrote in this book. So for me, I prefer to bring just very simple words in at least not more than one sentence, as people they can remind it and they can also maybe think about this, because it's very important to say that if we'd like to have this amity, we have to understand how we can provide time to listen to each other, time to understand each other, time to visit each other, time to speak with each other, time to discuss with other, time also to know about each other. And this time is really very important. Sometimes we are always, in a hurry. We are always, we have something different to do. We don't have time or even to speak to our neighbor, and to do not have time even to do something for others, to help others. I think that's what is for me, it's important to create this time, to others. Sometimes we need not to be selfish and to forget our ego and to forget our, let's say, our own privacy, our own way, and to think that we are living in an open space, and we need to deal with other. We need to listen to each other, and we need to give things. Because for me, what is very important is this kind of amity is how we can offer our support, how we can help, and how we can, maybe sometimes we need to be all together to finish something, or to implement something, or at least to obtain something. That's why for me it's very important to offer to create this time. And if we are well organized, and if we are not selfish, we can have this time. And just to say that even though we are different, I think what is very important to live in our mind is that amity is something simple, but in the same time complex. Simple if we don't have some, if we are clear in our mind, and we don't have to think about this, not to have, composed or with some background. So it's we can understand each other simply. Complex if we have also to calculate, to say why she is or she or he is trying to have a kind of this relationship with me, maybe for some reasons, for some purpose. That's why sometimes it's very complex if we have, to calculate, to think about it. But if we let's have it very simple. Amity is this relationship that we can have with our heart, without any calculation, without any results, without any expected results for that. So that's why for me it's amity is what we do need now. And maybe I can also I'd like to also to focus on this point that's nowadays we are living very, let's say, very tough era with all this illness, this COVID, this conflicts, wars, let's say, fake news, and many different cultural problems, religious problems, and that's why maybe, and I trust that amity could be, let's say, a kind of hope for us to say that yes, it's possible to live together. Yes, it's possible to support each other, and yes, it's possible to have, besides all these problems, kind of peace, hope, and good life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was really wonderful hearing you, all the perspective. Of course, absolutely well put. I was just joking with Sana that, since you got into this initiative and you got so many people to talk about it, and also they spent time writing about it. At least all these hours and days were quite peaceful for everybody. And you kept away from other things. And so I think just talking about it and doing things personally on a personal basis without any expectation and judgment is what you spoke about. And I think that is what is required today in the world. So what I'll do is, since ma'am, you're short on time, what I'll do is I'll quickly introduce the 17 poets who are there and who will be reading out. So what I'll do is, in alphabetical order, I'll just introduce them very briefly. I may not be reading out the entire introduction right now, but just want to do that, and then we will start with the reading. So we have Ms. Anita Panda, who is a Mumbai-based author and poet and a former teacher at Bal Bharati, New Delhi. Also a writer editor at Indian Post, and aspiring Bollywood lyricist. We have Ms. Anju Makhija, Sahitya Academy Award-winning poet, playwright, and translator. She's been on the English Advisory Board of the Sahitya Academy, Delhi for 5 years and co-founder Pondicherry Auroville Poetry Festival. Ms. Barnali Ray Shukla is a filmmaker of note and a poet. She has 2 feature films as a writer-director, 3 documentaries, 2 short films, as well as a book of poems, Apostrophe. Ms. Brett Shenua, if I pronounced that correctly, pardon me if I didn't, lives in Israel. She has worked as an actress in theater, films, and television, and is an author of The Cat Comes With Her, The Garden. Dr. Ishmeet Kaur Chaudhary, an educationist, author, and poet, teaches at Central University of Gujarat, Gandhinagar, recognized as an inspired teacher for the President of India's in-residence program, and based in New Delhi. The program was in New Delhi, June 2015. Marion Verweij is a writer, unaffiliated researcher, speaker, and a workshop facilitator on positive world change. She is engaged in humanitarian and environmental activities for over 30 years. Ms. Navneet Grewal is a psychology graduate, qualified language teacher, written for and edited various journals and magazines. First book of poetry, Our Hearts We Pen, was co-authored with a teenage daughter, Harnoor Grewal. Ms. Neera Kashyap has worked in the field of social health and communications, published a book for young adults, Daring to Dream, contributed to several prize-winning anthologies for children. Ms. Nikita Parekh is the National President of Literary Arts Council at Wiki, author of 2 poetry collections, Diacritics of Desire, My City is the Murder of Crows, and a novel in translation, Amor and Apocalypse. Ms. Pragya Bajpayee is a central government officer serving at the prestigious National Defense Academy, India. She holds a PhD in English literature from Banaras Hindu University, jointly edited 4 anthologies celebrating the armed forces. Professor Pramod Subaraman grew up in Bangalore, qualified as a dentist, moved to the UK, where he now lives. And he finally realized his childhood dream of becoming a writer when he was published as a poet in 2020. Ms. Priya Anand is a freelance development consultant who mentors nonprofits. She's also a blogger, poet, and writer of short fiction. Ms. Reiji D. Guia, if I pronounce that correctly, is a fictionist, poet, and illustrator. Currently, she's a writer resident at Rimbun Dahan at Selangor, completing her first book of short stories. She's an instructor at the University of Philippines, Diliman. And Ms. Shuchita Parekh Mundul is a freelance writer, copy editor, and a poet based in Mumbai, currently working towards a second poetry manuscript. Professor Swati Pal is the principal of Janki Devi Memorial College, University of Delhi, vice chair of the Indian Association of Commonwealth Literature and Language Studies, and has been the recipient of several awards. Ms. Tejaswini Roy Chaudhary is a Bengali Indian lawyer, writer, and occasionally an artist. She is the founder editor of the Hooghly Review. And Professor Uday Shankar Ojha is a professor at the Department of English, Jayaprakash University, Chhapra, Bihar. He has lectured widely across India and has authored and edited a bunch of books on British and Indian poetry in English. So those are our guests and poets for today. Susanna, how do we start? Do we want to start alphabetically as we went? And we start with Ms. Anita Panda.
Yes. Before we start the readings and before I talk about the book, I would like to thank our chief guest, Her Excellency Vidit Bhushamai, for her time. She spoke about time in the blurb that she gave for the book, and I completely see an embodiment of whatever she said today about keeping your ego aside and not having any agenda in helping other people. And I see that in her. I remember she was at the Paris Peace Summit when I asked her to give us a quote for the book, and she took out time from her business schedule, just like as she has done now. And I'm so very grateful for your time, ma'am. I also thank the Policy Times for the platform today. And thank you, Shakil, for taking over moderation duty at the last moment. Thank you, Akramji. So let's start with the readings. Yes, let's start with Anita Panda.
Ma'am, you need to unmute. Asif, can you unmute everyone so that, Yeah. So you all can unmute yourself now. Anita, ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that glowing introduction, Mr. Shakil Ahmed. Better, not bitter half of Sahana Ahmed. Wishing everyone a vibrant Happy New Year. Warmest thanks and gratitude to Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Her Excellency, Madame Ouidad Bouchambui. I hope I got that right. Founder, editor of the Policy Times, Mr. Akram Hope, and the very dynamic author, editor, poet Sahana Ahmed, and my distinguished fellow co-poets. Thank you for inviting me on this amazing and august platform to showcase and share my heartfelt poetry with you all at the soft launch of Amity Peace Poems today. 39 years back, his poem, War and Peace, won him the first place trophy from the Poets International Organization. I am so proud to be carrying forward his legacy on a very pertinent subject on which much has been spoken about, and immortalizing him through my own poem. He was a warrior. He lived as bravely as he died. When that warrior and soldier happens to be your sibling, your brother, the pride, honor, and raw emotions swell like a tsunami in the heart. I am as emotional, as proud today to be presenting a sister's heartfelt ode and tribute to her braveheart brother. Proud to have been a Fauji and soldier's sister. Proud to have been Colonel Suryakant Ponda's sister. Surya, wherever you are today, I know you're very proud of me, sharing a piece of my soul. Soldiers never die. The brave one fought, and how? Undaunted until his last breath, fighting the lethal, ominous enemy within, masking the pain, the nausea, fatigue, and blue-chipped nails with a brave heart's smile. He fought each battle with supreme positivity, from the icy Kargil heights to Siachen, from the beautiful, bloody woods of Kashmir to the scorching deserts of Thar. He fought each battle valiantly. And within his frail body raged that invisible enemy, devouring his cells and organs greedily, spreading like a wild, ravaging fire. He fought, and how? Each attack of the insidious foe, bearing its lethal fangs in glee, calm and strong, unfazed and indefatigable, braving the painful rounds of chemo with a stoic smile, bearing each needle piercing his frail body, an optimist and warrior to the core. He fought, and how? Until his last breath, supine on the ventilator in the cold ICU, limbs swollen, lesioned liver, lungs, and spleen, breathless and with eyes glazed, but not without one fierce last fight. And then he departed, draped in the tricolor, cremated with full military honors and a glorious guard salute. An officer, gentleman, and true soldier, immortal and forever eternal. He lives on now in the stars, the earth, oceans, winds, and fire. He lives on in the memories and songs of yesteryears, in the hearts he touched with endearing compassion. He lives on through his legacy of courage and valor, as gentle as he was strong. Gone now from this earthly realm, merging into the infinite cosmos, becoming clouds, so he can return again and again to the motherland. He lives on through his indomitable spirit. Rest in peace, beautiful soul, whose soldiers never die. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Excuse me, I have to leave, and I'd like to say thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. Good luck and many, many positive vibes for all of you. Happy New Year. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Shakil, I think there is somebody's phone is on. Please just mute.
Yes.
Barnali's. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, it's disturbing the background. Very right.
Yeah, Asif, if I may request that you could put everyone on mute except for the poet who is reading out the poem, please. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say that was a very poignant and very, very heart-touching tribute to your brother. Thank you so much for reading your work today.
Yep. So it was really a very touching poem, and I could, sort of relate to it personally as well, having seen a lot of this. But at the end of the day, peace is not only about, like talking about peace, or it's about keeping peace with sacrifices as well, and respecting those who do that. And a soldier is the one, I think, who prays for peace more than anyone else. So reality is very, very harsh. And this is something which is very, very deep for everyone. Thank you, Ms. Panda. Now we have Ms. Anju Makhija. Ma'am, over to you. Ma'am, please unmute yourself. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hi. Okay. I'll just get straight to the poem. Just one sentence. I think in times of difficulties, in challenging times, we often turn to the Lord. And this is a poem in which I did just that when I could not find some answers. Okay. It's called Baffled. The truth is within us. Yet, why does it hide, O Lord? The truth is within us. Yet, why does it hide, O Lord? Birds in the sky, wine cups, gallows, all symbols delude, methods confused. Stars remain unchanged. Lava erupts in our veins. Saliva sucks venom. Sprouted, I split like a bean. Half of me endeavors, half of me observes. Apple tempts in new ways. Samsung dictates our lives. Google peers down the iris. Oh Lord, I can go on and on. Please discharge my batteries. Unplug my adapter. Switch off my thoughts. I will merge or emerge insane. Oh Lord, shall I surrender and simply love you like a child? Thank you.
Wow, very, very lovely poem, ma'am. Amazing to hear that. And really, the connection was a little weak, but we got the entire essence of the poem for sure. And you have put it in the right words and the lingo of the current generations of adapters, chargers, and everyone to sort of metaphorically understand what is meant. I'm sure younger people who would be reading this would also get it for sure. And thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay. So we move to Ms. Barnali Ray Shukla. Over to you. Hi, Barnali.
Hi. So good to see you, Shakil, Sahana.
Thank you.
And you all did such a wonderful introduction. I'll straight get to my poem like Anju, but Thank you, Sahana, for including me in this wonderful gathering as well. And congratulations to everyone. And let peace prevail. I will read one poem just to put it in context. When I was shooting a documentary called Liquid Borders, this, like Shakil said, that who other than the soldier really desires peace? So that was my only relationship with the border, as they call it, as much as the armed forces allowed us. And here I am. I'll read the first poem. It's called Coordinates Unknown. Born in a village stitched to maps, embroidered with names that Granny spoke in a language of salt, salt that mended her wrinkles to laugh lines, her cheeks washed clean by tears of something like happiness. That memories don't lie buried like sons who fell to mines in a land altered by whims. Truth comes later than greed. But my Father and the Holy Ghost still watch over us over time, waiting for the day when guns fall silent, seek poetry of arms, embrace a future not scarred by bullets. Thank you.
Wow, very, very nice. Excellent one yet again. And so I may be out of my depth basically to sort of, do the Shabdarth and Bhavat of, the great poets and of the literary, personalities here. But listening to that poem was again, a lot of it is to do with the kinds of reality we live in. We have been having wars since millennia, and there's no avoiding that. So in that context, how do we look for peace and talk about peace also through that is absolutely. And what is more powerful, like the pen is mightier than the sword, it's been spoken a lot, and I think that continues to be the soft power of love and poetry and literature. I think is amazing. Thank you, Banali. Thank you for sharing that one.
Thank you so much.
The next is Ms. Britt Shanua. Is she?
She has not joined yet.
She's not joined yet. All right. Okay, so we move to Dr. Ishmeet Kaur Chaudhary. Over to you, ma'am.
She's not here as well.
Oh, she's not here as well. Sorry, I should have realized. Ms. Marian Verwage?
She's not
Even
here.
she is not there, I guess. Yes. So Ms. Navneet Grewal, over to you, ma'am.
A very good evening, everybody. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am. You are clearly audible.
Okay, I start by firstly thanking Shahana Ahmed to have included me in this anthology, and also to Havakal Publishers, my 10th international anthology. And as was in the introduction, I have already written my first poetry book with my daughter. The poem that I'm going to be reciting today from the book is The Peace Saga. A name lost from every dictionary. Alphabets just do not consent. An artist theme barred bare by language. Historians plead to its charm. Dynasties wiped out in its pursuit. Monuments stripped of glory. Families left wailing. A syntax error of minds, with vanity underlined to quote, the ego of a few delirious will hammer the homes of many. It is not extinct, but veiled under human virtues. Let every being whisper its cries. Let peace prevail to numb the noise. Thank you so much, everybody.
Wow, very nice, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing the poem. And so, as a KV student, I think me and Chana both are ex Kendriya Vidyalaya, and in the prayer in the morning, the last would be Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And the whole thing about the prayer, I still remember that. I'm not going to recite it right now, but just to say that every day talking about peace, but it's done as a routine. And yet, maybe it remains somewhere in people, when they grow up. I think all schools and colleges must have this dialogue and this awareness. I don't remember anything in college or in the senior classes about anything to do with peace studies or, what does peace comprise of? And it was very heartening to see when Shana was sort of curating this uh, and the kind of areas of peace that came out, and the work of all of you starkly represented something very personal, political, individual, and so various aspects of peace. I think that should be taught in schools and colleges as well. So let's move on to the next poet, and we have Ms. Neera Kashyap. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Shakil. And thank you, Sahana, for, oh my God, you're so efficient. I really think that this has come out like a star dropping from heaven. So it's just thank you. And I also want to say that I basically chose poems from previously published work. And I noticed that in order to select peace poems, I found most of my poems focused on peace. So it was interesting to actually select a poem that would convey something of peace, amity, as well as a desire for peace. Most of my poems have not realized peace, which I know, but they certainly desire peace. So I will just open a file and read. Okay. The poem is called The Call. My forefathers heard the call of the Murshid in their veins. Murshid is a spiritual guide. Ancient blood and stardust flowed as one. They followed their blood, sometimes to earth's end, sometimes to the next village, till the call became a form, the form a teacher, and time stood still. I'm a different kind of nomad, hearing the call of a different blood flow. They call me minority. In reality, a scapegoat to a need for revenge in the others, the majority. So they feel shored up against their own suffering. Let the bastard suffer so I don't. Let the rat die so there is no threat to me. It keeps my mind moving, throbbing, hurting, raging to the ancient drumbeat of bigotry, sectarianism, war. The beat pulses likewise in reptilian minds, below the threshold of the conscious, where threats could be real or imagined, flaring up in the collective as flashpoints, fomenting isolation, feeding tension, fueling assault for the illusion of security, for the illusion of approval in their community. Beneath my turbulent veins, I hear my forefathers' call. I just about hear it. It is a call for prayer and forgiveness. A song of love for their Murshid, a song of love for one another, for nature and for poetry, in submission to the Murshid, in submission to our own oneness. Thank you.
Really amazing. It took me on a Sufi journey, actually. I love Sufi poems, and how the call of love and peace. I mean, I think there's a saying that if we could understand the power of love, and if that could take over the love for power, then the world will be peaceful. So thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing this wonderful poem. Thank you. And okay, next we have Ms. Nikita Parikh. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Captain. I just want to say it's quite an honor to be a part of something that is so meaningful. So I'll jump into my poem. It's called Skyline of a Prayer. Fajr Azan breaks the sky into two. The lit half is a prayer. Its glowing mouth spreads through my language and settles in my chest. Maybe God is the singular breath that floods you whole. Someone exhales a muted ardas somewhere. It rises to the ether and becomes the sun. All faith prerequisites abandonment. So this prayer abandons me and becomes itself. Thank you.
Wow, really nice, Ms. Parekh. Let's move to the next one, Ms. Pragya Bajpayee. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Captain Shakil, for the generous introduction and for hosting such a lovely meet. My sincere gratitude to the dynamic author poet who always carries a winsome smile, Mrs. Sahana Ahmed, for having me in this star-studded and brilliantly edited and compiled anthology. I'm truly honored to be a part of it. Thank you so much. The poem that I'm going to read is The Beast. In the midst of breaking news, showing violence, attacks, killings in war-torn countries, with bold rolling headlines on the screen about exploitation of conflict dynamics, about party politics, about fragility, complexity, strategy, their views on global solidarity that I watched intently with nipping unease. My puppy suddenly threw himself at me, straight on my breast, buried his head against my belly, refusing to watch terrifying humanity. I heard him moan, turn his tail, feeling frail. He was scared, fearful in shape. I held him tight and said, we are living in a world we can't escape. And with dismayed eyes wide open, he pleaded for sympathy, like men stuck in refugee camps. So I turned it off for his peace of mind. The breaking news broke us both. He didn't know what it was, but demanded amity in his own tongue and showed me who the real beast is. Thank you.
Wow, wonderful. So as the newbie moderator that I am in the literary world, if I don't say something, I'm actually compelled to make a few comments after each poem. That's like a customary thing maybe for a moderator. But if I'm not speaking something about your poem, that means कि कवि बहुत ज़्यादा पहुंचे हुए हैं और सभी आप लोगों की पोएम्स मुझे मतलब जितना समझ में आता है उनका शब्दार्थ और भावार्थ जो मैं कर सकता हूँ उतना मैं कर रहा हूँ. And I think the poems that are coming up are like I've read these poems while Shana was curating, but then when you're reading it out, it gives a very different meaning and the sense that comes across. For animals, actually, I have had this view that none of the animals, kill for revenge or they only, if they're carnivorous, they eat only to eat and they, fight a little bit, but that's for different purposes. So it's not like packs of animals are going after, single animal and doing things like that. So I think wonderfully put in your poem, ma'am. And next, I think, moving on, we have we have Pramod Subaraman, Dr. Pramod Subaraman. Over to you, sir.
Right, finally managed to unmute. Thank you very much. Thanks for the introduction, Captain. And I recall when I first submitted to this anthology, it was on the final date of submission, and Sahana was asking me why I hadn't submitted. For some reason, I seemed to have been under the impression that it was only for women. And then when she asked me, I quickly sat down and decided on sending 3 poems, one of which has been previously published, and 2 of which were written on the last day of submission after Sahana requested. Right, so here we are. I will read those 2 poems today. The first one is Mehsa. It's in ghazal form. Mehsa. In her name, they fought and died. Iranians fought and died. Her killing was the last straw. Brave girls and boys, they fought and died. The promise was never kept. Every day, they fought and died. This time, we hope that they win. The heroes, they fought and died. Pramod salutes those brave souls. For freedom, they fought and died. That's the first one. And the second one is called Revolting. It's in villanelle form. The villanelle is my favorite form for writing in. Revolting. Join the Bhakt revolution, my friend. Bring glory to our country again. Forget the past. This is the latest trend. They have failed to atone, to make amends. Now we will show them the meaning of pain. Join the Bhakt revolution, my friend. I find it difficult to comprehend. When did my neighbor become a villain? Forget the past. This is the latest trend. This time, no compromise. We will not bend. We will continue until they are slain. Join the Bhakt revolution, my friend. But they are my friends too. I must defend Aju, Javed, Murtuza, and Hussein. Forget the past. This is the latest trend. Stop the war. Share in the peace dividend. End desegregation. Be one again. Join the Bhakt revolution, my friend. Forget the past. This is the latest trend. By the way, Aju, Javed, Murtuza, and Hussein are friends of mine from college and work.
Wow, wonderful. I mean, a lot could be spoken. But of course, peace is the current theme, and I think that needs to be percolating across the board, everywhere. Coming from your friends' clans, or the surnames and stuff. We have gone through a little bit of many things that's going on currently. It's it's actually a little tragic, and because I think Sana's poem also got triggered from something like this. I sort of always, have maintained something like, these things have continued since millennia, and not that it's going to stop for anyone or anybody. So I've been in very short anecdote here, and it's a thing that if we have time, Sana.
Yes, we do. Who haven't turned up, so yes, you can take that time.
Sure. So I just wanted to share something like I was working for a global #1 pharma company, and I was so we have global teams where we have our arch enemy members also, and we meet at very neutral places. And I was leading global security for South Asia, and we met with a gentleman from across the border who was a colonel, and so he asked me, "Well, Shakil, you are also in the army, but you must be having a terrible time." So I said, "Why?" And it was among British, American, Australian colleagues. So I said, he kept pinching a little bit, like, you must be having a terrible time. They wouldn't be telling you anything when the sort of conflict is with us. You would not be sent to the border possibly. You may not be aware of the plans and stuff like that. So I sort of played along, and then I told him, oh, I was really, really perturbed. They really troubled me a lot, the Indian Army. So they troubled me so much during my training that, they just couldn't leave me like that. And they gave me the Sword of Honor, and they made me top the academy. And then after that, I came out and became the blue-eyed boy of generals, and they told me everything that was there to tell. They sent me to the farthest point in the border to, sort of fight the war. So it was like, when I was growing up and I was in the army and I did all these things, there was never a hint of, what we spoke about just now in your poem. It's something that we need to be aware of, and people don't understand that. that there are institutions who are sort of protecting this country still quite a bit from whatever is going on outside. For people who have no stakes in protecting the freedom, maybe getting into this for their gains, personal gains and stuff. But otherwise, I have never had any kind of sort of outrage, backlash, or even any kind of. In fact, I was the preferred one most of the time because of my role and job and everywhere that I have been. So I've been possibly lucky, and I understand and know that there are very unlucky ones as well from all sides. But thank you for your poem. It's really
If I may just add one thing.
Yes.
I think we tend to forget, and having lived and worked overseas, what I have seen is that many people fail to understand India. They cannot understand how a multi-ethnic, multilingual, and religious country can stay together as one. And even within the country, there is a lack of understanding in many quarters to do with the fact that India has many histories. India is more of a constructed country. It has many histories. Many people have come from different backgrounds. And there is a delicate balance which must be respected and protected. And it's very easy to really tear the threads apart. We have to work to keep it together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Pramod. Wonderful. Next, we have Ms. Priya Anand. Over to you, ma'am.
Hi, good evening, Captain Shakil. Thank you so much for this. And Sahana, thank you for this opportunity. I'm so happy to have my poems included in this anthology, along with so many other distinguished poets from so many different countries. And today I'm going to be reading a poem called A Postcard from Hikim. And just to give a context to it, I'm a traveler and a trekker, and I really find that I find a lot of peace when I travel. And so this poem is actually written after I went to Hikim, which has the highest post office in the world. And it's located in the Spiti Valley. So I'll read the poem now. I chose one which features the post office, indistinguishable from the other homes in the village, except for the red India Post sign that adorns it. Rupees 50 for international and rupees 10 within India is the amount. The postcard with its fellow compatriots lies supine in an old brown sack that has made this journey several times. Hikim to Kaza and then to Manali on an old Himachali bus that zigzags its way across treacherous mountain terrains, avoiding falling boulders and a rock-strewn road, a bumpy journey across Spiti. The post bag rubs shoulders with sacks of sweet green peas meant for the urban markets. The thickets of pink flowers wave prettily, but the bus speeds past its destination in mind. In Manali, the post waits in a back room of a large building to be sorted. A postwoman separates the cards, which seem to cling together. Parted and divided and sorted, they lie in their lonely little compartments. Another bus journey then to be endured to Chandigarh, and then train journeys to the south, east, and west. Hikim and Spiti, a forgotten past, the cards are traversing a different path. It's no more mountains, but the plains, no more inclines, but flats, no bright stars strewn across a clear sky, but an enduring gray that obscures the atmosphere. And finally, a car travels to Bangalore and its outskirts, a little piece of Spiti in Kengeri. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Wonderfully put. All the, I think living in Gurgaon, or I've also lived in Bangalore for a while, and how we are looking to just get out and get into these little peaceful places where you could at least breathe some fresh air and just inhale some respite from the hustle and bustle of the city. And also the post office and the post box and the inland letters, they reminded me of my time when I was on the border and listening to Sandese Aate Hain, and my DR would get those handwritten letters from Sahana. We were just engaged at that point of time, and I was at the border along Rajasthan. And so those memories came back. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
We move ahead. And I don't think Ms. Reji De Goya is there. Oh,
hello, hi, I'm here.
Thank you, Reji. Reji, right? That's how.
Reji De Gia. Yes.
De Gia. Thank you, Reji. Over to you.
Hello from the Philippines. Hi. Sahana, thank you for giving space to my poems. The one I will be reading is written in solidarity with the struggle of the Filipino masses. The title is Rosas, and I wrote it after Emiliana Campilan. Rosas. Binibini, I used to call you from that song we couldn't forget. A kundiman to soothe the afternoon until Lola turns the station to pray rosary for absence of news before she herself succumbed to grief. An orchestra, a choir, or a waltz, we danced as lady and another lady as a man. Beneath moonshine, I open my eyes, not to twirl out of your arms, but to take up arms in the countryside unreachable. Binibini, I still call you in my mind, a ballroom for the eternal encore before our parting. As women coming of age, starry-eyed in spite of war, the promised last dance keeps the beating of my feet across fields over mountains, praying for that day I follow the steps back to you. On that day, a song will begin, as scriptures have promised, but of trumpeting jazz and disco. I will find you in the chanting crowd, among comrades, blood-red petals on the streets. Halina Binibini, I'll beckon. Hand in hand, we'll dance the swing before their effigies aflame, a fulfillment of retribution. Thank you.
Wow. It was lovely. I think a poem full of hope during conflict and, things, when you're looking forward to something. And I think there are many regions, even today, as we speak, looking out for that kind of freedom, peace, and, the good things of life. I think there are multiple regions still fighting hard and hoping to get there. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. Okay, next we have Ms. Suchita Parikh Mundul. Over to you, ma'am.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
is the volume on? Okay, great, thank you. Very happy to be here, part of this wonderful evening and this collective. I thought I'd read one of the poems. It's called Countries. Countries are cubist paintings with anthems hanging from their tongues, garbled and in need of reframing. When the canvas fades, a wildfire of calm will spread, so planetary things can take over. Clichés like flower buds and evergreens and cool ocean breezes. Not to mention varieties of stars that will send such embraces of light. Everything will feel like love. It'll be as if the earth cracked open and out poured this sweet seed of contemplation, unraveling fraught tensions, coloring the world afresh. Thank you.
Wow, lovely again. I think I'm reminded of something which I keep, sort of putting it in a little bit. And we were sitting in Marrakesh, I think, way back in 2015. And our daughter, Riham, was, I think, 5.5 or 6 years old. And 4.5. So we were on a cruise and we were sitting in Marrakesh, and she had held a packet of gems and it just fell down on the tile floor. And she started picking it up. And she just said, like, wouldn't it be nice if there were no borders in countries, and she picked up one gem after the other, and we could just go through whichever country we wanted. Basically, what she was coming from was that at every port, her passport was being checked and she was being sent through the security check. And so she just connected. And I mean, coming from a 4.5 or 5-year-old child, and what even every one of us, like borderless world and stuff like that, pretty much a utopian dream. But nevertheless, I think your poem made it better. Thank you so much.
I just add something to that, Shakil. Those candies were in the shapes of hearts. And she said,
oh, yes,
it'd be great if we could just follow hearts and there were no borders.
Yeah. So, yes, we move to the next. Professor Swati Pal, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Captain Shakil. And of course, Shahana, thank you so much for including me in this book. I can't tell you how honored I am. Your husband has done something very intelligent. He has decided I'm not a poet at all. So he refused to include that in the introduction. Shakil, if I may call you so, while I, of course, won't deny that, yes, I am a professor, an academic, and so on and so forth. But today I would like to be known as somebody who attempts to write poetry. I'm not at all a celebrated poet, but I do attempt to write poetry. In fact, Anita's beautiful poem was in the second anthology that I kind of edited, curated. It was called Living On, and I have an anthology of my own called In Absentia. So I attempt to write poetry, but after listening to so many beautiful poems, and of course I've gone through these poems with a pin, I'm actually quite embarrassed. But nonetheless, a little 1 minute, the problem, Shakil, is that if you're a professor and a principal, you tend to talk a lot. So you'll forgive me if I'll take 1 minute to just tell you that I come from a completely Fauji background. My father was an army officer. We are 4 sisters. My 2 eldest sisters retired from the army. They are much older than me. They both were in the Army Medical Corps. All 3 of my brothers-in-law were in the army. My father-in-law was in the army. My brother-in-law, that is my husband's brother, is in the Air Force. My nephew, so we are in the 3rd generation of army. My nephew is an army doctor. So is his wife. So I'm a very, very proud Fauji.
Absolutely.
But having said that, I will also tell you that like Fauji children, we have gone through tremendous moments of stress. I know that, in the 70s, when lights would be out because of war, and your father would be posted to say Leh Ladakh, it was a frightening time. Or when your brother-in-law is posted somewhere in the Northeast and you aren't even told where he's posted, it is very frightening. So yes, while we romanticize, the life of the warrior's family goes through hell. Now my poem, it's called Stray Thoughts on Amity, and it arises from the fact that if you walk into a cantonment, people say, Fauji log karte kya hain? What do they do when there's no war? And I really invite all non-Faujis to walk into a cantonment and you'll know what Faujis do during peacetime. That's how cantonments are the way they are. Am I right, Captain Shakil? I'm sure you'll agree.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. So this is called Stray Thoughts on Amity, and they really are that, stray thoughts. Legs swinging in unison as we sat aloft the branches of guava trees in Lucknow Cant. No words uttered nor required, only the happy munching of unripe, unwashed guavas relished together by a bunch of starry-eyed kids waiting to fly into the endless sky. Was that amity? apparel of a specific color, jackets or caps or stoles, other paraphernalia of the many who walk and talk and sit on dharnas or shout slogans or make promises or shed copious tears or speak fervently of global peace, brotherhood, emancipation, transparency, commitment, dedication, and is this amity? The sun, moon, and stars exist in the same firmament, each unique, each divine, each pure, each sacred. This is perfect amity. Amity springs not from the stinking cesspool of individual or collective insecurities. Amity grows in interlocked fingers of coupling between partners who bask in their own and the other's light. The skeptic and I assume true amity can only be a dream. Thank you.
Very nice, ma'am. Lovely poem. And of course, I really, honored to know so many people have served the armed forces from your family. And my apologies on the introduction, but I only read what came out of Sahana. So say Sahana is to be blamed if anyone has to be. I got the introduction. I'm just joking.
Very peacefully, Shakil.
We will, yes, of course. So, this is a question that, most of my friends and I had about 40 classmates, and I think we were 2 of us who went into the armed forces. And the rest 38 would wonder, what do you do? What do you guys do? You have such a wonderful life. And, when there is peace time, what do you do? So this is a question that, every 40 has struggled sometimes in their life. So I think there's still, I think it's still not clear on the other side in the civil street as what 40s do during peacetime when they're not fighting. And why do they get free rations? And why do they have orderlies and stuff like that? So that's another discussion for another day.
Shakil,
so
if I
thank you,
add, if I
yes,
add one thing, the question that I was trying to raise actually was the fact that, we have there's a lot of difference between text and praxis, So we've got a lot of people theorizing about peace. And especially politicians, and sorry to say this, and that's when I talked about the fact that people will be sloganeering and all of that, which probably has its own value. It has a propaganda value. But as our chief guest very rightly put it, peace is not something that you do because you've got an end. It's not merchandise. You don't barter it. It's not something that you use for your own personal gain. Peace is much larger than that. That's
absolutely. No, absolutely, ma'am. Wonderful poem. And we move to next, Ms. Tejaswini Roy Chaudhary, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. I am so grateful and honored and humbled to be here. And my gratitude to Sahana ma'am, actually, because without her, this would not have happened. She reached out to me via Twitter DMs one day after reading one of my poems and asked me to contribute to the Amity Peace poems, and I was completely floored. And I remember that I actually submitted 2 poems, and I wrote them within just half a day. And I registered my friend Ankit Rajojha's help in that case. Please help me edit my poems, because I do not want to let Sahana ma'am down. I want to send something. I want to send something good. So that's how these 2 poems came to be. And thank you for having me. So as far as peace is concerned, like last day when I was listening to Sahana ma'am's podcast interview with ABP, she mentioned that peace is internal. And I actually feel the same way. For me too, peace is internal. Unless and until I have that balance on the inside, I cannot conceive of peace on the outside, because I don't know what it is. And if I don't know what it is, how do I even go about preaching it? Like, practice what you preach, right? So the first poem that I submitted, like, this is a poem I'll read actually. I tried to essentially step back from everything and look at, the universe from a larger picture. That what if we understood that time is above everything? Because in my opinion, there are two things that are completely universal. One is justice and the other thing is love. So as far as justice is concerned, I believe time itself is a part of justice. So, and justice is a part of time. So if we could just understand, and this is perhaps a sort of existential question as well, if we could understand our own insignificance in this universe, how little we are, and the way we fight, the way we just stick to our point of view, the way we just become intolerant at every angle. We don't want to shift from our point of view. We don't want to take up anything else. So that's the perspective from which this poem came to be. So without further ado, here is prophecy. One day, a tree will wear barbed wire for a crown, because a little boy will have tossed a seed into the land between nations. One day, roots will puncture marbled parliaments, and legislative halls will be home to a pair of Bengal tigers. One day, bridges will be grapevines and tombs rose bushes. One day, certificates will be repurposed to pen love letters and paper currency shredded to confetti. One day, we will learn there is no chaos in wilderness, but emancipation in letting go. One day, we will dance till dusk and dine at dawn, and gaze at galaxies with a friend or a parent or a cat invested in fireflies. One day, we will forgive and mother each other, step outside chalk circles and put a toe, a foot in another to see what the world looks like to a neighbor. One day, gun barrels will hold lotuses, and dismantled grenades will be wind chimes. One day, constellations will mimic a human kiss, and we will all be shooting stars rebuilding the universe. This day will be born of choices, yours and mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tejaswini. Wonderful, wonderful poem again. One day we will have peace in the world. I'm sure, like again, our daughter puts it, it's only Thanos who can do it like this. And she has got a little bit of a different, thought about that. But yes, I think time, I was reading somewhere like it takes just a few years for nature to just take over anything and everything, and just, the wilderness will be there if you leave a city for like 10 years, 15 years, and they'll just take over the entire thing. And you won't know that people existed. And I think that brings me to what I think we think that we have time. This is by Jack Cornfield and not by Buddha, as misquoted normally. But we think that we have time, but we don't. And time is something that is a recurring theme here. Our chief guest also spoke about it. I think this is wonderful, very, very nice poem. Thank you for sharing. And we come to the last poet of the day, and Mr. Uday Shankar Ojha, Professor Uday Shankar Ojha is a professor at the Department of English, Jayaprakash University. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Captain Shakil Ahmed Sahab. I'm truly delighted to be a part of this program, and I'm greatly thankful to Sahana ji for including me in this wonderful MEC piece poems, and more thankful to her for accommodating me with my son Ankit Ojha. We have been published together in this volume, and that is a great delight to me. Well, I want to share one thing, that I have been writing poetry since my college days, but probably I was waiting for my son to be a poet first. My poems were there in the diary, and I'm reminded of Keats's poem Ode to a Nightingale, where he talks about old wine, and he quotes, "Cooled a long age in the deep delved earth." So my poems have also been cooled a long age, and now they are getting published along with my son's poem. So thank you so much for all this. Well, without wasting any more time, I would like to read the first poem, Seeds, which is probably, and certainly critics will say, it is about father and son's relationship in this changing scenario. And I think the esteemed poets and critics will certainly see this. So I begin like this. What is your vogue is not my forte. Heralds my own tribe as he departs to board his plane. His potato chips are too crispy, and the proud burger too disdainful. Mocks the soggy curry-soaked rice on my poor banana leaf. The fate of a few customary pleasantries hang in vain. My father suffered, practiced the same burden, feared I could plant my pollen in an alien land. Fear infects even in cases of true credentials carried carefully or seeds sown in an unaccustomed earth. Wish we sense it early, lest the vogue should suffer a reshuffle. So that is the first
Very
poem.
nice.
Thank you. And I take the liberty to read out the second one as well. That is entitled as Sacrament. It is at midnights often that exploration ceases. Stuffed mortal beings, to their utter surprise, get nowhere at the end of the search. For centuries living on sand ended only in artful rhetoric. Yet somewhere the wish to revive in us, the gods immortal, persists violently. And you can't curb the blind fury of guns let loose from straitened domes, silencing innocent cries on anarchic altars. So this was the second poem. In both these poems, I have treated peace in two different ways. The first one is all about the peace that exists in the home itself, between the relations that exist in our homes. And the second one is all about a reference to the very violent situation which is going on all over the world due to war and all that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Wonderful, and really, great that you did the bhavat yourself also. I would not have done justice of explaining exactly what you meant. And this is most of the time, I keep joking with Sara also that, when we studied in KV, we used to do Shabdarth and Bhavat, and I always used to tell my teacher, सर कवि तो कुछ लिख के गया है, अब हम अपने शब्दार्थ और भावार्थ निकाल रहे हैं इसका. We don't even know if we are close to what the poet was thinking. So on that note,
yes, I wish to intervene. I wish to quote two lines in Hindi, a couplet. कि दिल से जो बात निकलती है असर रखती है, दिल से जो बात निकलती है असर रखती है, ताकते पर नहीं परवाज मगर रखती है. So poetry comes out of our heart, our feelings.
Very nice. Lovely. Thank you, sir. On this note, I would like to call Sahana. We have completed all the poets. Sahana, over to you. She has vanished somewhere, and possibly while we wait for her, like for a minute. In fact, I've been through this journey of, in fact, whatever she does, I'm a part of that journey. And so I have seen her how, hardworking she is and how diligent she is. Basically, I keep telling her that I could try, but I would never be as efficient and professional and diligent and, all that praise. Oh, you're back. I should stop praising you now. So... But
I was on a call with the Policy Times team, So
don't worry. So over to you, Sahana. Now everyone has read out their poems, and I've done my bit. Now over to you.
Yes.
Thank you, Policy Times, as well, to Akram. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to all the poets who have joined in today. I really, really appreciate your time. I appreciate your contributions. I appreciate you for adding your voice to Amity. Really, really means a lot to me. I had a lot to say, but we are short on time. So I would request Mr. Akram Hoque to conclude the session. And before we do that, thank you so much, Shakil. I asked you half an hour ago before the program started whether you could, moderate the session. And thank you so much for doing this even while you are traveling. I say this everywhere. We need he for she champions in the world, and you are such a great example of that. I am really lucky to have you in my life. Thank you so much. Over to you, Mr. Akram Hoque.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Many congratulations again for writing such a beautiful, collecting and gathering such beautiful pieces of message on peace. And also, I'm so proud and happy that Shahana ma'am has a partner as Captain Shakil, who is equally, extremely supportive. And I'm so happy to see both of them in a single frame. It is often said, I was talking to a very successful doctor. I asked him, sir, what is the secret of your success? He said, my wife. No doctor can do surgery if his wife keeps him unhappy or busy. So, and the same example goes in every field. I'll just conclude by saying a couple of things. That is why, Captain Shakil, also thank you so much. Couple of points for you, because you are the authors and you are the message providers for the world. We call them messengers or warners. Number one point, when we are talking about peace, peace is only possible when we believe in the concept of Lord or Almighty or God. We need to understand this concept that there is a Lord or God or Almighty or a creator who has created us and sent us to this world for an appointed time or for a fixed time. If we don't believe in this concept, then the very existence and purpose of life becomes, a little meaningless and narrowed down. And that creates a sense of fear in the heart. The second big important belief that we need to establish in the society is there is a life after this world, which also means that whatever act or work that we do, whether they are openly or secretly, whatever good work that we do, there is a reward for it. Whatever bad work we do, there is a punishment for that. And whether we do that bad work secretly or openly, everything is being counted. And hence, the reward and punishment will come with equal might and power by the creator who has created and sent us to this world for an appointed time. Had that been not the case, there are many intelligent people who have died before. There are a couple of 1,000 crores of people who have died. Couple of billion people have died. And within them, there are Einsteins, there are, Alexander, there are Hitler, there are many such people. Have we seen any one of them coming back to the world and telling us what we don't believe or believe? No one has the power. That means there is a power behind everything to give that message. And that power will hold us united in the society. And that power will actually be the main source of bringing peace. Unless we believe in the context of accountability, we can kill someone. But even if the current rule or justice system cannot provide that justice to us, there is a creator or Lord who will punish us for that. No one can be above that moral law of the society. The third important point, greed is the ultimate reason for all the calamities or moral calamities that we see in the society. And greed is the biggest enemy, greed and desire. Most of the societies are led by desire. And the current context of business and consumerism are being led by desire. People or human being cannot live by desire. They have to live by need and the belongingness to the society. What we need to control, and God or Almighty is against desire and against greed, if you all believe or if you think. So these are a couple of strong and bold opinions or points. If we can bind societies like this, I think we can bring peace in the society. With this, by congratulating Shahana ma'am again and Captain Shakil for being such an instrumental pillar to this, and you being the messenger of this, I would love if you can carry some of these points to the society and engage all the stakeholders to build. Thank you.